Andrew. Thank you everyone for coming out today. Really appreciate it. I want to thank Jenny Beth and the Tea Party Patriots, Andrew and Kim, for bringing me here today. My name's Larry Naratelli. I'm from San Diego, California, and I've been involved in the water issue all summer long. I went up and I talked to the farmers, interviewed the farmers, asked them questions about the water restrictions and what's happening. I'm here to convey some of that information to you today. Before I start, I want to just say God bless America to here. You know, our president, he's traveled to Europe, he's traveled to China, but there's one place he hasn't hit yet, and that's the Central Valley of California. And the policies of his administration, which have cut off the water, have created 40% unemployment rate in Central California. There's actually food lines for all the farm workers, and the farmers are helping out to distribute food, but people have been in food lines all summer long when they could be going out on the farms and growing crops to feed people all around the world. Of their allocations, they have contracts for water from the state, and they're only allowed 10%, which means if you had a 5,000-acre farm, you could only farm 500 acres of that. Now, anyone knows that if you have land payments on 5,000 acres, it's pretty hard to make those payments and to pay for the maintenance and upgrade costs if you're only doing 500 acres of work. The crops that they grow produce value and feed the world. So when they turn the water off to the farmers, they're actually reducing the value and threatening farmers, fourth-generation farmers, of losing all of their wealth. So generation farmers are losing their land. The banks are foreclosing on the property. The banks will not loan them money to operate their farms after the 31st of this year if they don't have guarantees of water. If the banks are going to say, look, if you don't have water, then we're not going to give you money because we won't get our loans paid back. Now the farmers, they've gone out of their way and they've started drilling wells on their own property. It's much more expensive to get the groundwater out of the ground than it is to just take it off of the aqueduct, take it off of the irrigation systems that are in place there. But they're doing that to survive, so they've been able to farm approximately 50% of their land this year, some of them. Some of them haven't been able to farm any. The problem is now is there's a new water bill that was just passed in California, and people think that that's going to solve the water crisis. It didn't turn any of the pumps back on at all. So the farmers still have the water restrictions, even though they've got this $11.1 billion water bond that's supposed to be approved. That's going to send money to Los Angeles and San Francisco, but it does nothing to put water out to the farms. They're going to build new dams, but all the irrigation systems they have now, they're not allowed to use. So what's the government solution? Create another $11 billion of debt, borrow money that we don't have, just because they're not turning on the pumps from the water systems that they do have. These pumps are used, the pumps that were turned off with the Delta Smelt ruling, those pumps were used to fill the reservoirs during the rainy season. When they turned those pumps off, the reservoirs didn't get filled. That's why their water allocations went down to 10%. So this is definitely a man-made drought. It's a government-induced, and it's a federal law. It's not a state law. So that's why we're going across the country and asking people to help. We need you to contact your congressmen and your senators to help them support the ones from our state who are actually supporting the farmers and wanting to put bills through to turn the water on. Deaden our debt. We can have the money, we can have the economic power of the farming community if we just turn the water back on. The environmental groups are not interested in helping the people. The environmental groups are looking at the Delta Smelt, which is a small fish about that size. They've even used the salmon. Now salmon, if you go to any restaurant, you have plenty of salmon that you can order on the menu. Salmon are farmed. Salmon are grown in farms and rivers now, so they're not in danger. The environmentalists also said that the water that was going to the farmers was endangering the whales in the Puget Sound, some 1,200 to 1,500 miles away from them. Farmers are the ones who create the real green jobs in America. The green jobs are from the food that's grown on our farms. It's not from windmills, it's not from solar panels, it's from the hard work of the people that go out there and till the soil and bring crops to all of our people in the world, in the whole world, not just our country. And they actually produce cotton too, which is what we use to make our clothes with. Please write your congressman, please call them, call your senators, and ask them to support Devin Nunes to help us get the water turned back on, because they're taking away people's land. It's a land grab. They're taking away people's land, they're taking away people's freedoms. And it's very important that we stay together and stay active and get out and fight to help our farmers and help put people in California back to work, not by creating $11 billion of debt, but just by turning the water back on. So I want to thank everyone here for coming in.